Welcome to Lang Bench with Andrea. I'm your host, Andrea West. So, what is Lang Bench? If you look up Lang Bench in the Belize Creole English Dictionary, to hold Lang Bench means to have a long conversation. But it's more than that. Having Lang Bench is an important part of our culture. I think it's evidence of the value that Belizeans hold on community. We make time and space for each other. And so as an immigrant, it's one of the aspects of Belizean culture that I miss a lot. So I have created a Lang Bench with Andrea to extend this tradition to other immigrants living in Massachusetts. So we can sit and chat and get to know these people who are doing amazing things in our community in Massachusetts. So today I have my first guest on the first Lang Bench with Andrea ever. His name is Charles Jang. He's a regular Renaissance man. So Charles is an author, he's an artist, an educator. He's also made a film, he's a former athlete. So he's the perfect person for me to have as my first guest of Lang Bench because we have so much to talk about. So welcome, Charles.
Thank you, Andrea, for inviting me to your very first show. It's really an honor for me to be here with you to have our conversation, Lang Bench.
The first thing that I want to talk about is your art show. I know right now you have some amazing things happening in your career as an artist and as an author. So let's first hear about your art show that's actually happening here at BATV. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
That's right. I'm currently having an exhibition at the Billerica Access TV. I showcased about 20 of my artworks in the main hall and on the second floor in the hallway. And I picked the artworks that best showcase my recent evolution.
Your evolution as an artist?
Yes.
Yeah.
The reception is going to be on August 1st, and it's going to be on Saturday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. And anyone can just walk in here and everyone is welcome. And I really look forward to having a interesting conversation with anybody.
Yeah, it'll be wonderful for people from the community to not only be able to see your artwork, but get to engage with you, to connect with you, to connect with the artists.
Yes, I really enjoy talking to people about, because a lot of my people that I meet are also artists themselves, and I really enjoy having a conversation with them, talking about their art, their journey, and my art and my journey.
Yeah, I went to your show in Lowell, your most recent show in Lowell, and it was amazing. I really felt like, that there was a story behind some of the pieces. There was one in particular with the two hands. The two people were holding hands, and I saw that, and I was wondering, why did you take a picture of that? Why did that, capture your attention? Or yeah, so would you tell us the story behind that particular piece?
At this particular show in Lowell in June this year, I not only show some of my paintings, I also pick about 5 dozens of photos that I took during my travels around the world. And I remember talking to you about that particular photo. It was a photo that I took with my cell phone when my partner and I were traveling in Malaysia. We were in this big shopping mall and going up the escalator, and right in front of us, these two men, young men, were holding hands going up the escalator. I found that fascinating because Malaysia is not a country that is known for tolerance for same-sex attraction.
Yeah. Everything is just woven together. It's so interesting. Your book and your artwork, we get a snapshot of what life was like during the time period in the 70s, where the time period in which the book is based. I have a quote that I think really captures what it is that you for me represent as an artist. On page 12 of your book, Heart to Heart Chat with a 6-year-old me, you wrote, accepting and utilizing your whole being is the first step toward creating unique art. In that unique confidence, I realize I have a little dad in me after all. So I thought, you feel that you're able to create great art because you've come to a point of accepting your whole self. So,
that's correct.
Yeah, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and so
yeah.
so then what would you say are aspects of your identity that you feel like influence your artwork, your writing, your work as a creative in general?
Well, to answer your question, I would like to quote Paul Jackson Pollock. He was the leading figure in expressive American modern art. And he said, painting is self-discovery. Every good painter paints what he is. I think this quote pretty much summarizes, how I embrace the whole being of self. There are 3 components to this question. Number 1 is accept your flawed self, recognizing that you are not a perfect human being, not a perfect artist. So accepting your imperfection is the first way to create interesting art. Now, there's a Japanese aesthetic philosophy called wabi-sabi. What wabi-sabi is known for is accepting the imperfection, seeing beauty in the age and the weather. And there's a beauty in imperfection. So accepting yourself, a lot of times as modern human beings, we strive to be perfect, which is impossible. For example, in the art world, Leonardo da Vinci is the epitome of perfect art. But we have to realize how much time and effort he had put into dissecting the human body's anatomy. Until that point, I cannot create the kind of art as Leonardo da Vinci. So I have to accept my imperfection. And then otherwise there'll be this self-doubt about yourself, whether or not you are good enough to create art. That's the first component. The second component is to embrace your history and your cultural background. As a long-time resident in North America, I've been greatly influenced by Western art. In Western art, the foundational principle is for the landscape painting, you have to have perspective. It has to be realistic and proportional. In Eastern art, specifically in China, we throw those rules out of the window or out of the playbook. So I have used fluid visual mediums to create spontaneous art, and art that reflect myself, my history, and my cultural background.
I love that your work is influenced by philosophy. And you had a piece of artwork, I remember, in Lowell, Wu Wei.
Yes.
Wu Wei. And again, you make reference to Wu Wei in the book. And there was this beautiful scene in which you were, I don't remember if you were planting or you were harvesting sweet potatoes with your grandmother.
Yeah.
And you and it was just this like carefree moment where you were at peace and you were just going at this. You had your rhythm. You seemed to be in your own space, and it was just beautiful. So could you tell us what Wu Wei is? What is
Well,
that?
Wu Wei is an ancient Chinese philosophy. It literally means no action or effortless action. It basically means when you do things, you go with the flow. And another component is, for example, act like water. Water is very soft, but it can be very powerful. For example, carving through rocks over thousands of years. So when I use Wu Wei to describe the scene when my grandmother and I were working in her vegetable garden, we just stay in our zone, and so whatever you do, you have faith in that, and detach yourself from the result. If the result doesn't come out as good as you have hoped, then just let it go. So, which brings me to the third component of embracing your wholeness as a person, as an artist. So yeah.
Okay, yeah. You know, it's amazing. You know, you're from China, I'm from Belize, and some of the things that you describe as Chinese philosophy, I would have never thought that was Chinese philosophy. You know, like, oh, you said, oh, these rules, we throw these rules out the window.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, this being laid back, going with the flow. I spent a summer in Shanghai. I would have never thought
Okay.
there were aspects of Chinese philosophy that
Probably
were
in
like going with the, you know, just going with the flow. That sounds very Belizean, very Caribbean. You
Yes.
know? Yeah.
And I also came from a tropical island, so I do find a lot of things that I can relate to you.
Yeah, and I suppose, you know, when I was in China, I remember it was an amazing experience working with Chinese locals, because then I got to experience China from the perspective of a local. You know, I got to engage with them in like real life situations. No, not just as a tourist being helped or guided by somebody in the service industry, which I think made it a very unique experience. And one of the things that I remember them telling me is that, oh, they couldn't stand it when people would think of China as just Shanghai and Beijing. And as I was reading your book, I was thinking about that, because in your book, you move from what would be like a metropolitan area, a town, to a rural area.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I like about the book is I feel like it gives us a snapshot of what life was like in China in that particular period. And some of the experiences I feel like would resonate with people regardless of where they are, regardless of where they're from.
Yes.
So in the book, you were in a place called Buenshore. Would you tell us a little bit about Buenshore?
I actually changed the name to Buenshore based on the local pronunciation.
Ah, okay.
So the official pronunciation for that county is Wenchang. Wenchang is a county where has produced a lot of scholars and officials, even back to the Qing dynasty. And then there's a particular person that I would like to mention. His name is Charlie Song. He was born in Buenshore and later brought to Massachusetts by his uncle. And then while well, he was helping his uncle in his uncle's variety store in Chinatown, Boston. He was spotted by a captain, American captain, who then took him to South Carolina, where he finished his education and then was sent to China as a missionary.
So there's an American connection,
Yes,
a significant,
yeah, definitely,
a significant
yeah.
one. So just now you were talking about, you know, accepting, accepting yourself and you know, accepting your flaws and to be the importance of wholeness. Do you think this writing this book helped you to achieve that? Do you think you're more accepting of yourself now? You think you're more whole after writing the book?
Yes, that definitely. So I would like to bring you back to my childhood. Before the age of 7, I had this feeling that I had lived a previous life long before I was born. I was having this happy childhood in this town where my mom and dad worked for the government, my mom working in a hospital. Then because of the job situation, they had to send us to the countryside in the neighboring county. And then first to live with our maternal grandmother, and then all of a sudden, for some reason, we were taken to our paternal grandparents. That's when the trauma started. Then, so I survived in that compounded hardships. First, under a very, I would say, oppressive system, and then by a family that demanded absolute obedience and hard labor. So for many years, I had a hard time figuring out what went wrong, why I felt so hurt. Then that emotional silence is called alexithymia.
Alexithymia?
Alexithymia. And then when I started writing this book, I reflected my childhood deeply. And then I looked for truth and understand and try to understand what was going on during that time. And then by writing, I think I would not have such clarity with my childhood, the way I grew up or I was brought up. So yes, writing this book, I encourage everybody to write their own book, either, you know, in whatever form that they feel comfortable with. And this is, I would say, a life-saving endeavor that I have, and I was so happy that I did it.
I agree with you. You know, writing can be very therapeutic. You know, so I'm happy that it has helped you to heal in some ways. No, you know. But on a lighter note, there were so many things in this book that made me laugh.
Okay.
I think you're quite a wordsmith. There's stuff about, you know, like the family dynamics. There's this excerpt that really made me laugh out loud. I'll read just a little quote. You wrote, "If John were a piece of fine jade, his brother Guang would be the rag used to polish that jade. A rag can do good when a situation calls for it, such as saving a life, my life." Okay, so so if John were a piece of fine jade, his brother Guang would be the rag used to polish it.
Yes,
It's
I
a
love,
great analogy.
I love, you know, things like this. You would never have come up with things like this if you're not writing. Yeah.
There's also wonderful mentions of the delicious food, your grandmother's chicken, so many different aspects of Chinese culture. Like you mentioned, there's the trauma, the traumatic experiences that you, thank goodness, have worked through. But it's also gives us a window into Chinese culture, family dynamics. I really enjoyed reading it, and I thank you for writing it and sharing your story with us.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
So before we wrap things up,
Sure.
is there something that you would like for us to know about you, about China, before we say bye?
I would say that will leave the readers to find out if
Okay.
they choose to read my book. The book is available on my website. I use my pseudonym to write this book, Carl Wen Sun. So the website is carlwensun.com.
Okay.
So Carl, Karl WEN SUN, carlwensun.com. Yeah.
Carl Wen Sun. Okay, it's called Heart to Heart Chat with the 6-Year-Old Me, a memoir and reflection. Well done.
Thank you so much.
Okay, and I'm looking forward to the reception on August 1st
Yes.
here at Billerica Access Television.
Yes, that
Okay.
would be 3 o'clock, between 3 and 5.
Okay,
Yeah.
from 3 to 5 here. Okay. Well, thanks again for joining me for the first ever Long Bench with Andrea. It was so much fun.
Thank you
connecting
so
with
much for inviting me. It is really a great pleasure, and honor.
And thank you for joining us for the first episode of Long Bench. We hope that you tune in again. It was a pleasure.